Hi, my name is Kumar Rangarajan, and I'm one of the co-founders at Slang Labs. Today, we want to be able to now show you a demo of our product Conva.AI, which is the easiest way to be able to now add an AI assistant inside your app. And to demonstrate that, I'm going to be using the Big Basket app and see how we can transform the Big Basket app by using Conva.AI. Right? The current experience of using the Big Basket app is something like this, where if you search for ingredients for making palak paneer, you will just get a simple keyword based search. It will show you maybe palak, maybe paneer, but it won't really understand what exactly you're asking for because it's a very simple keyword based search. There's no semantic understanding. What we want to be able to do is to transform this experience into something like this, which is able to now understand what you're asking for and able to give you the list, the best set of products that are most suited for what you're asking. So this is what we're going to be doing, and let's see how easy it is to do it using Conva.AI. Let's jump right in. You go to the slanglabs.in website, and then you go to click on sign up. So then you will be taken to the Magic Studio component of Conva.AI. Then once you sign up with your email ID, you are signed with using Google. So you can come into this home screen, and you will be presented with this create new assistant button. These are some of the assistants that I have built for various other use cases. So you can ignore them. You will just go click on this create new assistant. So the very first thing you have to do is to be able to now, since you're adding an assistant to your app, you need to tell Conva, hey, what is this app you're adding it to? So to do that, you can just pick the app's URL. It can be any URL that best represents the app. It can even be the App Store URL. So you can just click there and paste it. And then we're going to be manually creating the assistant. We're not going to do is automatic creation. Let's understand what exactly is happening behind the hoods. So let's click on manual creation. So as soon as you do that, now what's happening is Conva.AI is going to now go download the textual content of this website, understand what is this app all about, and it's going to quickly get some boundary to make sure the assistant is grounded to this app, right? So it's going to understand, okay, this is the Big Basket app. It got a name. Let's go change this to say Big Basket Assistant. It has gotten some description about the app itself. It has gotten some more what categories of products it is selling, which country it's operating in. You can go change all of them if you want, or you can just leave it to the defaults. And then let's move to the next steps. The next steps is to be able to now define what is called as a set of capabilities that this assistant you wanted to have. Right? And by default, this is what happens. So Conva.AI automatically adds two capabilities to every assistant. One capability to essentially ensure that any question that is outside the scope of the assistant is answered with a polite way to answer it. Hey, sorry, I don't know. This is not supported by assistant. On another one to be able to know answer questions regarding some simple chit chat conversations. Hey, good morning. What is your name? Those kind of things are handled by this, what is called as a capability. So the goal is to be able to now keep adding incremental capabilities over time so that your assistant scope is well defined and very tight. Let's actually quickly test this assistant to see, okay, what can it do right now? Just go click on this build assistant. Okay, so now the assistant is now ready. Let's go test it out. So now this is the very basic version of the assistant. If you ask it, and this is the playground where you can go test it. Click on the playground and you can ask it, what is your name? And then the inference will kick in. It will try to answer, hey, I'm the Big Basket assistant, you're friendly, helper to all your grocery needs, right? So it's just giving you something very friendly. Now, if you ask it more complicated things like what are the ingredients for making palak paneer? Now here, by default, it doesn't know how to handle this, right? Because we have not yet trained the system to be able to now handle these kind of questions, right? So that's why it's saying, sorry, I can't really answer. Go please figure it out from some other place. So how do you know add this functionality, which are broad-based functionalities you want to be able to now add to this. So to do that, you come back to this capabilities section, click on capabilities, and you click on this create new capability. Click here. There are two ways there are some standard capabilities that are available which you can just use, or you can go and create your own custom one. You click on this create capability. What you will do is like we already have, you have to describe what you want in English. For that, I already have done this piece of text which says assist users with searching for products and answering questions about products, recipes, ingredients, blah, blah, blah. You just write it and you say, okay, the output that I'm expecting from this capability is this thing called related products. You are describing what you want in words. We do that, and then you click on create. And now this will now take this and then actually go and quickly try to generate a capability for you. Now, what this exactly is this capability? A capability essentially is, we call it as a capability blueprint. From your high-level description, it is actually broken down into a bunch of controllable entities that represent that capabilities. Like what is the name of that capability? Is a programmatic name. This is a descriptive name. This is a high-level description of what this capability is. There's this concept of groups you can ignore. This is how you should trigger this particular capability. There's some sample examples of questions that will make it trigger this. It's not limited to it, which is a sort of sample examples. And these are the broad set of functionalities that this particular capability controls. Right? We call it as capability topics. Then this is the output of this capability. Whenever this capability is invoked, this is what I expect as an output. An output of every capability is to be able to now generate a bunch of parameters, and you can go and describe what those parameters should look be, and the description of them, all of them has automatically been generated right now from that one paragraph description you got. You can then control these things, the type of each of those parameters. And if you don't like it, or if you want to be able to now edit it manually, you can please do it yourself. You can click on this add parameter, delete this parameter by clicking here. You can do all of that. Right? So now once if you feel you're reasonably happy, then you can then go click publish. Like this, what it will do, it will again take this blueprint that we have, it will take this blueprint and actually generate an agent behind the scenes for you. Right? Some people call it a tool, some people call it an agent. So it's essentially like a piece. It's the actual prompts that are being backing for this capability that will get executed at runtime. It's actually going and doing it for you automatically. You don't have to manually create those prompts. The system is automatically going to do it. You have a compiler which will take this blueprint and generate the best possible agent for it. Now, if you go back and you want to try it out, so we have these helper things. All the conversations are already pre-saved, so you don't have to now keep writing them. Click on those things, then you go back here. And okay, now let's pick the last one. We said, what are the ingredients for making palak paneer? And hopefully this time it will work better. Yes, it said, okay, here are the ingredients for making palak paneer. It gave the answer and also generated that parameter that we asked it to generate. Right? Related to products, it told you what exactly you wanted to do. Right? So now it generated this and all of them. So if you want to consume it programmatically, you can consume it too. This is a quick way for you to now verify this is working. Oh, this is great. Now you want to be able to now add more functionalities. Let's keep adding another functionality. For example, you also want this to be able to now answer questions regarding your customer care experience. So let's ask, how can I contact customer service? Now, this should actually fail, is what we expect, because we have not trained it to answer this. Because so far we have only trained it to answer product-related questions. As expected, it says I can't answer this because it doesn't know how to do it. Now, how do you do it? Let's go back to the capabilities again. Now, but this time we'll add it in a slightly different way than what we did last time. So we create this create new capability. Now, instead of creating a custom one, we can then use one of these existing ones where we have something called app FAQ. So we can use the existing capability instead of writing something from scratch. Right? Because we have a bunch of utility capabilities which you can just quickly use them. So you click on import. It will take this and now generate that capability for you. Now you can click on this capability. It will open up the blueprint. Again, it has figured out, okay, it's given it a name. It's a description, frequently asked questions about the app. These are some of the questions that it can answer potentially. These are some of the topics on which you can answer. And this is the output parameter here. Again, the answer will contain in this message parameter. And then stuff like that. Right? So now you can do it. But let's now quickly publish this and see what happens. Now it should almost be done. It's taking a few seconds to actually recompile and redo it. And publish. Now it's done. Now we can go back to the playground and let's go back to the thread that we had saved already, and then let's use that and re-ask the same question. How do I contact customer service? Even now, if everything goes well, you will get some answer, but not the answer you actually want it to give. And I'll explain why. So if you said it give you can contact big basket customer care service by going to the app and go to the help section, which you can find. Oh, it's actually what is actually happening here is like the AI is trying to give its best guess for what will be the answer for this, right? Because it actually doesn't know what is the data for answering this kind of question. In the previous one, the data for answering the ingredients for palak paneer, it was able to use its own internal knowledge and to be able to now use it, give you the answer. But here, it doesn't really know the answer for this. So it's just trying to give its best possible guess. So how do you ensure that you can actually give it data to ensure the output is grounded to your application's context? To that, let's go back to the capability section. Let's open the app FAQ. And then now, what we do, see, this is where you go to this knowledge section. Here is where you can give data to this capability to say, like, hey, use this when you are giving me the answers. So you click on this create knowledge, you give it a name, BB FAQ about BB app, and you say, okay, there are different ways in which you can give your data. The most common way is to be able to now give URLs. You click on the add HTML URLs, you are taken to this section. So let's pick this URL, which is the one that's as the FAQ questions. I'm going to paste it, click plus, it's added, now click save, creating this knowledge, it's done, now let's go and click save, it's done, now we are supposed to again publish it, just click publish. Every time we make some changes, you are expected to publish your changes. Now it's figure out what is the incremental thing that is required and do a quick publish, and now it's done. We go back to this, now if you ask the same question again, let's see what it will do. Yes. Give a much better answer. Okay, you can contact customer care by calling 1-800 blah blah, and email is here. This customer service is available at 6:10 p.m. And let's just quickly go back and verify this is actually true. This is the FAQ. This is the email. True, true, true. Right. So this information is gotten from this website. Right. So that's what it did. So this is a very basic explanation, a demo of like how do you add these kind of simple functionalities into your app. Now, the next steps is to be able to now actually integrate that into your actual application. This is what you did is to be able to now create an assistant. You're still not integrated into your app. To do that, the very first thing is to have to initialize Conva.AI. You initialize it using the keys that you get in Magic Studio, the ID that uniquely identifies your assistant, the API key that identifies your organization, and the version of the assistant. And by default, you can just call it as latest, and we'll always use the latest version. Once you initialize, you have to be able to now invoke the actual assistant at the right time. So now after if you have there's a search bar, wherever the user typed whatever they want to type, you just pass that to Conva.AI using Conva.AI.start conversation. And you also pass a handler to handle the response back. We will see how the handler is actually listed. Once the AI is invoked, this bottom sheet will appear, and that's where the AI's response will start to appear there. And now, for you to be able to now programmatically handle the response back from the AI, so that you can do things in your app, you register a callback with the AI like this. Right? We don't go into the specifics, but there's a callback handler to which you can now register it to handle the response back from the AI. And the response object will look something like this. It will tell you which is the capability that got invoked, there are some bunch of parameters, some standard parameters like message parameters and specific parameters that has been configured that we saw which got configured in Magic Studio for that specific capability. All of them gets passed to the object, passed to the capability handler, and then the capability handler can then do the appropriate action. So in this particular case, if it wants to be able to trigger a search, it can just using the parameter that got passed to it, it can fire a search operation inside the context of that. And depending on which capability got invoked, depending on the question that the user asked, different kind of response objects will get generated, right? And appropriately handler is expected to handle all of them. So that's a very trivial version of how to actually integrate the Conva assistant in the context of your app. Right? Now let's go back to Magic Studio and see a few more things that is available in Magic Studio. Magic Studio also offers you a bunch of related tools. It gives you this log monitoring framework where you can track all the things that the system did to understand what it did, each one of them has this definition called thought, which you can help you to understand why the AI did what it did. It gives you a lot of observability into what is happening in your system. And then there are also evaluation mechanisms where you can select a date range and say, okay, given all the information that has gone through the assistant in a particular date range, tell me how good the AI actually performed in that date range. Right? So it gives you a score between 1 to 5, where 5 being the best and 1 being the worst, and tells you like across each one of those capabilities, how did the AI actually perform? How did it adhere to your larger requirement that you described in your capability blueprint of what the AI is supposed to do, and how would it actually generate? So all of this in brief is to be able to now show you how easy and a very comprehensive set of capabilities and tools that the Conva.AI platform now offers for developers to be able to integrate an assistant or a very localized AI experience in their application.